like to invite on stage for our next fireside chat, Sanjeev Bhatia, President and Head, New Economy Group, Axis Bank. Round of applause, please. Marichi Mathur, SVP and Head Retail, ONDC, and Ravindra Kamath, CFO, Grocery Business, Reliance Retail, along with Mayank Jain, Director and Lead Consumer Credit and Business Lending, Amazon Pay. Thank you all so much for being here. And this wonderful chat will be discussed and hosted by Razorpay's Chief Innovation Officer, Arif Khan. Arif, thank you so much. We need you back on stage. Over to you. I think we have again flipped it. Okay, now it's too late. Think of it as a mirror image. Thank you, thank you. Oh, okay, moderator shift. Oh no, have I messed this up? Doesn't matter.
I think it's only fair if she was moderating it, right?
The suspense is that the photographs pop up after we've sat down, sir.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But it's absolutely fine. We all know you all.
I think some confusion is fine, right?
I love it. It's the birth of greatness. Okay, over to you, sir.
Okay, thanks for that. So we're going to discuss about the future of commerce, and we have probably the best panel we could. We have Mr. Rajendra, CFO of Reliance JioMart. We know what Reliance has been up to. We know what Bill Basket has done, subscription-based milk, and so on and so forth. We have Mayank. Mayank is from Amazon Pay, Director for the APAC region. Everything got to do with affordability, BNPL, and all the goodies, the cashback, etc., is run by Mayank. We have Marichi, who is actually trying to disrupt all of us with the ONDC. So we'll have a good conversation. We'll ask him some tough questions and put him on with Mr. Rajendran to debate something. And of course, we have my good friend Sanjeev over here. Sanjeev is the president for Axis Bank. In short, everything fintech in Axis Bank is run through Sanjeev. And he's done, what, 6 meetings already since morning? With all startups. Excellent. All right. So here we go. So, we spoke about commerce, where we are. I think e-commerce is expected to be 35% of our GDP. Our target is to 5 to 6 trillion by 2030. E-commerce is supposed to be contributing around 2.25, somewhere around that region. In all this, I think the key component that's going to be with all the disruption and technologies enabling a lot of that is going to be technology. I would like to, Mr. Rajendra, start with you and understand where do you think technologies helped you? What's the role technology is playing? Will there be a situation where you'll have these drones delivering milk to our homes very soon?
Good evening, everyone. See, as far as technology is concerned, because right now I take care of grocery, e-commerce, as well as physical stores. So what I see is that technology is evolving day by day. How we deliver to customer, okay? So now, originally there was only scheduled commerce. Then started e-commerce, and subscription commerce is another arm of it, right? Our Milk Basket app is a subscription commerce. Scheduled commerce is usually 3P related, 1P is a quick commerce. So those different types of deliveries are happening to customers. So technology evolution is happening in each and every sphere. How we pick the material, how we give it to the last mile delivery person, how we collect the payment, everywhere technology is there, okay? But what I see the future is that, I have gone through the drone deliveries, all this, many things are there, but drones and all are yet very futuristic. We need to see how it works, What I see is that, last mile delivery is very important thing which we need to crack, because quick commerce is heavily dependent on riders. Okay, and now getting riders and all is a bit difficult job, and how to make payment to them, what rate we should engage with them. So it's a big thing which is happening now. Because there are a lot of players who want riders. Riders are available, but right time, right riders should be available. Okay.
And do you think, something like a scheduled grocery?
No, that's what I'm saying. So in case of quick commerce, we are dependent on riders more. Okay, so there we need to have some app like Uber, where you need to just say that we need 10 riders today. Those riders will come as and when it is required and take the material from for last mile delivery. So that is what is future of last mile, according to me. As far as schedule is concerned, that is not an issue because we bunch the deliveries and send it in a smaller vehicle, four-wheeler. And the subscription model, that is not an issue because every day morning by 7 o'clock, everything is delivered. So big innovation should happen in last mile delivery according to me.
Sure, thanks for that. So I've got my friend Marichi sitting right next to you. And they've been busy unbundling, decentralizing everything possible in commerce. We call it ONDC. And ONDC, I believe, has been now adopted by a couple of more countries. So Marichi, do you have a solution for this, right? Last mile rider, can you unbundle it and get Uber on the hooks or some Rapido? How does that work?
So it's very interesting to listen to the, the problem statement on the rider piece. And I'll just narrate a story. So all of you who are living in Bangalore, if you open your Ola app now, you can order food and grocery, okay? And what Ola did was looked at, they had a large cohort of customers, consumers, okay? They have a large rider fleet. Pan-India, they have close to 500,000 riders, okay? Who are essentially your bike taxis. They've looked at both these opportunities as their strengths and leveraged it on the network and offered their consumers additional value points by not just buying, say, or booking a cab, but able to, say, order food, able to order grocery, and enabled it by plugging their rider fleet when they are not used. So think about it. A rider will be really used in peak office hours. Food delivery happens when it is not peak office hours. Peak office hours would be between 8 to, say, 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Peak food delivery hours for lunchtime would be 12 to 3. Similarly, in the evening, it flips again. And in the morning, before, say, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, the guy can do grocery. Now, suddenly, you have an entity who has infrastructure. They can leverage that infrastructure on the network and absolutely drive that entire value properly. And I think that is a magic which an unbundled network brings. So one of the biggest advantage which an unbundled network brings is it takes away the ownership of building the entire value chain by one entity. Very few organizations across the world have the ability to stitch the entire value chain. Get customers, do customer acquisition, build a UI UX, bring suppliers on board, enable them, manage inventory, and then also do the delivery and all the components required to stitch this together. The network way of commerce allows you to unbundle this entire piece, pick up things which are your strengths, only do those, and leave someone else to do the other parts which are their strengths. And I think that is a very powerful story, and that I think grows. Another anecdotal story which I would like to say, which is picked up recently, I was sitting with a food chain in Bangalore. They have their own riders. And they said, I have riders. I've attached a bike rider to one outlet of mine. They are only occupied for 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening, and that's a cost to me. Now imagine they can plug that rider fleet when it's not used for them onto the network and offer it as logistic. And that's where the unbundling opportunity really starts to open up.
The buzzword is unbundling.
Yeah.
So I have got two giants sitting next to you, right? Reliance and Amazon. I would really like to hear from you, Mayank. What do you think of unbundling ONDC? Are you on the bandwagon, or Amazon wants to own the stack A to Z?
I was just talking to Marichi. Actually, I have been very fascinated by what these folks are doing, and I just told him two of the favorite examples I have from this very city. Whether you talk about the Nama Yatri app, right? Or you talk about even Magic Pin. Like some of my batchmates are founders there, and I saw what kind of an impact ONDC brought to that platform. They were just a discovery platform, and then they could become an ordering platform, right? And they could directly serve the customers and create demand for the stores that they were trying to serve. And as Marichi would know, I think Amazon is also doing a bunch of experiments with ONDC in different types of categories. Some categories lend themselves to a different model. Some categories, for example, the autos, the Namayatri, the food delivery are very, very, actually, this model of unbundling really helps scale those kind of categories really well. So I think those are the ones we are looking at opportunities to scale, because we want to serve A to Z needs of our customers, not necessarily building everything ourselves. So we want to partner.
So Mayank, follow through, whenever one goes to an Amazon, anything on Amazon experience is very personalized, right? From an offer, buy now, pay later, in all the capability that you bring, the magic, right? What's the technology behind it, right? Is there a lot of AI? What's the prompt, right, behind it? Because there is some offers. Someone spoke about cashback, and that's very exciting for us Indians, right? How does it work? What's the magic formula over there? What's the tech being used behind it? Maybe you could share a bit about it.
Sure. I think the magic, see, there are lots of technologists here. There are a lot of people who work with technology. The magic, frankly, I would say, the magic that, and you talk about buy now, pay later, you talk about cashbacks. In this proposition, the magic is making it available to the customer in the moment of need, the moment of truth. And that's what whole embedded finance is all about, right? We know credit drives consumptions world over. In my role as leader for credit products in emerging markets, I've had first-hand experience of seeing how people are embedding credit into commerce. Like you go to a market like Brazil or Mexico, the biggest retailers there are also banks, right? And the typical bank branch in Brazil or Mexico, you get into the bank branch, you will first see laptops, refrigerators, phones, even two-wheelers. And towards the end of that, you will see a queue of people paying their installments or getting a new card issued, which they will actually use on the way out to buy something else from the store. So it's all about, in the customer journey, how do you embed, how do you weave what the customer is looking for and make it so easy and so frictionless for them to take it. Our Pay Later program, for example, Amazon Pay Later program, most of the credit lines for Amazon Pay Later actually get issued during checkout. Somebody came to the product page, they wanted to buy it. Maybe they didn't have the budget or they were looking for buying something which was slightly higher price. They can enroll for that line, they can get that credit, and they can check out within 60 seconds, right? And use that. So I think that's where, bringing commerce, financial services, and commerce together, which becomes like a self-fulfilling flywheel, a virtuous flywheel, is where the magic is happening.
Thanks, man. Sanjeev, I guess all this makes your life very difficult, right? There is someone who's trying to get embedded finance. There is someone who's trying to get subscription for retail, for your grocery. And there is someone who's saying, I'll bundle everything. Now, in all this, at the end of the day, the way I look at it, the flow of money is always through a bank, being a regulated entity. And we all assume banks are the legacy pillar of the country. How do you cope up? You bank with what, 67%, 65% of the unicorns of the country. How do you cope up with all this? What's happening within the bank? How are you coping up with their technology demands?
So one of the things that we have done is organize the bank around client segments, right? So for example, I had the startup vertical, and I and each and every team member of ours, which is approximately 150 odd relationship managers, they only bank startups, right? And let's say if I go to a relationship manager who covers Reliance.
They bank and fund startups? That's more interesting for the audience.
We fund startups indirectly. We come in as LPs into funds. We don't take direct stakes, because there are lots of bells and whistles that RBI has put on what the banks can do and what not. But yes, we do fund, we are LPs in most of the leading private equity and venture capital funds in India. So to your original point, let's say there is a relationship manager for Reliance Group, or rather Mukesh Ambani Group. If I were to ask the Mukesh Ambani Group relationship manager to manage startups, he or she will just not find time or the inclination. So that's the way, because of the client segmentation, now my relationship managers and my team are evangelists for what startups need from a bank. And we are like your eyes and ears within the bank, and we challenge the bank that this is what the startup needs. This is how they want us to manage collections. This is how they want us to manage payments. They want us to do 500 transactions per second while doing payments. They don't want everything using APIs. So we act like pressure points to get these things developed. And of course, we've had a huge amount of sponsorship from our board of directors, from our MD and CEO, because of which we've got a lot of investment dollars to build products which are relevant to this space. And that's how we've been, and the other thing obviously is, when we say that we are building relationship with startups, we want to be relevant to them, right? So we don't want to be bit players. And most of the relationships that we have, our share of wallet would be anywhere between 30 to 60%, doing something very critical, mission critical stuff for these startups. And because of which, it's like a flywheel. We start getting referrals, we start getting leads, and we are always at the cutting edge in terms of what this sector needs.
Thanks, Sanjeev. And I know, Axel, we partner with Axis Bank for quite a few things. So, their APIs are probably one of the best. Coming back, and when we speak about commerce, and we are saying it's going to contribute 35%, e-commerce is going to contribute 35% of our GDP, and so on. I think a lot of importance is given to the tier 1, which is growing, doing well. But I think tier 2, tier 3 really needs to come into play, probably even tier 4. I do know for a fact that on Amazon and overall Amazon Pay, you see a lot of traffic coming from tier 2, tier 3. I would like to understand from you and then follow through with you, Mr. Rajendra. What are the nuances that you see in tier 2, tier 3? And do you see an experience play over there, a technology play, or it's a cashback play? How do you see that market evolving? What kind of education goes behind it?
See, of course, lot of the tier 2, tier 3 towns, for example, I'll take you a stat, like when this Diwali sale happens, right?
We love that sale.
And then you see almost 60 to 70% of sale that happen on installments, like we run a big installment program, happens from tier 2, tier 3 cities. These people are waiting. It's an aspiring India. It's very aspirational. And when you are able to give them a tool to go for their aspirations, right, they really go for it. So we see a lot of aspiring, like a lot of these phones, big electronics, TVs, etc., get sold in tier 2, tier 3 markets. And the trick is like to have the right selection. So the way we look at it is we always look at it selection, experience, and price. And we always try to, offer the selection that is relevant for that segment of customer, make sure that the experience is as good as we can give. And then on pricing, the one thing that is very different from our global playbook in some of the emerging markets is that pricing is equivalent to affordability and value. You have to make it really affordable for this segment of customers, right? That's where for the top of the pyramid, there are these 50 million unique, like the last panel was talking about, credit card holders. They are looking for cashbacks. They are looking for better value or rewards. But the tier 2, tier 3 cities, they are looking for even credit to break the payments into multiple months, to aspire for that next level of product that they can own today. And so these products are very, very popular with them. Like our buy now, pay later, we have 10 million signups. I think majority of them would be out of these cities.
Oh, wow.
Right? And we have, and installments, I told you, during these sale periods, large amount of purchases happen through tier 2, tier 3 towns. And I think that's the thing, right? We are trying to push the needle to provide access to these financial services, to broaden that so that they can participate in commerce.
Excellent. I know Amazon has been leading the way. Sir, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, I agree with what he says. Basically, JioMart is present in 18,000 pin codes across India. Out of that, grocery is in 4,000 pin codes because we can do 1P grocery where our stores are available. So majority of our...
Sir, are you going to stop at 18,000 or is it going to go beyond?
No,
We ran out of pin codes.
so 4,000 pin codes, 1P grocery is available, and majority of towns are tier 2, tier 3 towns. And our experience is really very good. People are buying on our platform, and they are buying different products, and because they are getting choice and home delivery, and so they are used to it now. Thanks to Amazon, so everybody is getting used to e-commerce, and plus thanks to Reliance Jio, everybody has got a good bandwidth on their phone, so they can order.
As I told you, Reliance likes to own the entire stack, right? And how do you see quick commerce, right? I mean, do you see quick commerce is relevant in tier 2, tier 3?
Yeah, because right now quick commerce is concentrated in where Zepto, Swiggy, all those people are there in top 10 towns.
They're spoiled.
Yeah,
You
but
spoiled
we introduced quick commerce in all 4,000 pin codes. Everybody let them experience quick commerce, let them enjoy it.
One thing that always worries me is returns. India has a tendency that, roughly around 15-20% return. There is yet 20-25% which is cash on delivery. How those processes handled, right? What's the kind of, we being a payment company, we would love to hear from you as to what kind of expectation would you have from someone like us, payment companies? How do we solve for that? Or do you think the problem is already solved?
About payments.
Payments.
So payments, basically what happens is that a lot of people are still on COD, okay? Because they don't trust unless they get the material. After getting that delivery, they are ready to make UPI payment to the rider.
And UPI dominates that space?
What is that?
Does UPI dominate that space in a tier 2, tier 3 context?
Yeah, they do the UPI payment. So what we did is that we enabled our last mile delivery person with the proper app and other things so that he pushes for UPI payment. Because last mile collection of cash is always a painful thing, because he collects the cash, then he will return, give it to somebody, then it will come in our account. So a bit reconciliation issues are there. So we prefer UPI payments. Preferably it should be a prepaid transaction, but whoever is not doing prepaid transaction, we enable last mile conversion of COD into prepaid.
Sir, why not partner with Mayank, Amazon Pay, and get some cashback and benefit for the customer?
We have GeoPay with us, so.
As I told you, Reliance owns everything, right? Thanks. Marichi, to you. I remember one of the first use case when we started speaking about ONDC. I was involved in a different way. Was one of these things in Far East where there was, I think, again, food delivery and grocery. What's been your experience in Tier 2 vis-a-vis what you did with Namo Yatri in probably Bangalore and some other places?
So first up, I'd like to clarify one thing. ONDC is not a platform.
Okay, before we
One
get
second.
there, right?
So we're like an infrastructure piece, right?
Sure.
An infrastructure piece's job is to kind of create the backend and the backbone of it. So the open APIs which we built is the base of it. Now anyone can connect onto those open APIs and be part of the network. So now we have created the network and the protocol. Who joins and who derives what value out of it is left to the individual organization. Because of the very inherent nature of an unbundled nature in which this protocol has been built out, you could have a large media house who could say that, oh, I want to start playing the e-commerce game, connect on to, because they already have large cohorts of consumers and in the deeper tiers of this country, and say, okay, I don't want to build the supply because I don't have that expertise. I understand my consumer, I can create cohorts, I can target, I anyways do a lot of affiliate marketing, but I want to complete the transaction at my end. They just come in as a demand generation engine and just start pulling supply from the network, start pulling logistics from the network. So the way it stitches together is much easier. You have newer opportunities because there's no just one way of doing it. There are gaming apps who are coming together who are trying to say, gamers spend 3 hours gaming. Can we build a very natural, intuitive way where without the gamer, and gamers hate getting out of the game and they are in the zone, can I build the purchase experience within the game? Who knows how this works? So the opportunity is there for entrepreneurs to figure out how to leverage the network. And I think that's where the important thing is. Someone could be sitting in a small town and decide that, okay, I'm 15 bikers, can we come together and just start doing deliveries? All they need is someone to give them a connector and onboard themselves as a logistic provider and start opening logistics. So that's how this will start opening up at our end.
Awesome. So, you have, you're right here, right on the stage. Who are the guys you need to convince? Is it the business guys or the technology guys? Where do you think is the challenge?
So I think it's more about the approach. So the way commerce has been done across the world is a more do-it-for-you model, right? Entities, large organizations build the entire stack. You just go and agree on a commercial term, and then they do all the heavy lifting for you. The ONDC way or the open network offers new opportunities, but it's a more do-it-yourself model. So if you are a brand, and you're a D2C brand, you now have opportunity to reach new customers through the example I said through.
So who's the challenge? Is the CBO the challenge or the CTO a challenge?
I think tech is the lesser of the problem. I think it is more the way organizations need to figure out how do they leverage. I would like to be very clear here. ONDC is not meant to be an anti-anyone. It's supposed to be an all-inclusive entity. Organizations need to figure out what are the strengths they have and how they want to leverage that strength onto the network. And that is, I think, a very business call. We spoke about the Ola example and spoke about the Magic Pin example. These are entities who figured out a space. They spotted an opportunity, looked at what was their inherent strength, and let go of stuff that they were really not good at. And that's how they were able to stitch this together.
Fantastic. Thanks, sir. Sanjeev, Access has always been present in Tier 2. Are you guys going deeper in the geography to support these businesses? I remember the earlier days, it was a lot about building brick and mortar branches, but I believe now there are different models, BC models and so on and so forth. So what's been Access's journey on that front?
So if you look at our investor presentations which come out every quarter, or once in a year, we also hold our analyst meets. We've called out 2 areas of distinctiveness where Access is going to be, rather 3 areas of distinctiveness where Access is going to be different from rest of the banking industry. One of them is digital banking, and that's where you see the focus on APIs, or the open retail banking app that we have is rated 4.8 on the Play Store and the App Store, one of the highest ratings in the banking space, and we'll continue to invest on that front. The second one is customer obsession, which is Spursh. Whichever channel the customer comes through, we want the customer to have a world-class experience with us. That's a journey that you don't complete in a year. It's a multi-year journey for us, but we have started work on it. And the third one, which is relevant to the question you asked, is what we call as Bharat Banking. Now, Bharat Banking is our deep geo strategy, which is going into tier 2, tier 3 cities, semi-urban, rural areas. It's not about opening a branch over there. That is just one part of the strategy. The idea really is to get into the ecosystem in the deeper hinterland of India. That is Bharat, right? Now, what does that mean? Who are the economic actors? So if suppose there is an agri input which is going down to the farmer, is there a local manufacturer over there? Is there a distributor over there? Is there a dealer over there? Similarly, if somebody is procuring agricultural commodities, how do you procure from there, right? Or if there's an MSME entrepreneur working in the hinterland, how do you support that MSME entrepreneur with capital, with helping him or her collect money from their customers? So it's a very holistic kind of
through the supply chain.
Through the supply chain. So we are basically tracing the economic activity happening in the hinterland and getting embedded in each of those economic activities, through products which are relevant to that space.
So, Mayank, to you, right, when tier 3, tier 4, I remember, this is like around 5 years back, we used to talk a lot about assisted commerce, right? And where people would come, they would, discover some products, maybe on a kiosk, select something, and then go offline and make payments. Do you think that's really required today, or technology and the mobile penetration has really undone that and we can directly go, especially with the language and India having its own, DPI and Bhashni as a stack available? Do you think that's yet required, or this is good enough? Technology will solve for it.
I think it's a journey, right? We are very different where we were 5 years ago. Now you see on Amazon, you see a button with Rufus, which is your assistant that can help you shop. You're on whatever detail page.
It helps you to spend.
You shop, you have to spend. But basically, it's like you're using technology in a scalable way that can. So we have a lot of focus on vernaculars. That Rufus is our, we are trying to leverage AI and LLMs to figure out how we can help the customers make those choices. In shopping, this is happening. It's happening in financial services also, frankly, right? A lot of the applications that used to happen earlier, right? Now you have a very assisted journey where nobody needs to call you. The tools on the application itself help you figure out what are you supposed to do next. So it's a journey. I think there is a lot of fantastic work that is happening. Now in this era of AI, this is one place where I think the most disruption can happen, which can really open up the market for everybody.
So you think conversation commerce and these things are going to be a reality soon?
They are already a reality. They are already a reality. Different segments of customers use them differently. And I think with AI, more and more platforms will be able to talk to that customer, which was very difficult to reach through the traditional commerce or financial services models. Now you can actually reach that customer and bring them.
One thing we've seen at Razorpay, yes, there has been adoption of conversation commerce, but the checkout experience yet moves out and there is friction. There's something which we are trying to work with entities like yourself as to how it could be in line. Right? So that's something which we are very, gung-ho about, that we should be able to crack it over the period. Anyway, let's moving on. And since we spoke about LLMs and conversational commerce, my next question, and I'll open it to all of you. From a technology point of view, right? What's the future of commerce? What is the bet that you would like to take with a technology lens in the coming next 3, 4, 5 years, which is going to really change the way everything is done in commerce? Maybe I can start with you, Mr. ONDC.
So with advancement of technology, what I feel AI is very important thing which is happening now. So with that, because we have offline stores and online, both are there with us. So we know customers' preferences, what he is buying, what is the best product which is selling in that state or in that city, what customer is buying. We can give personalized offer based on his, whatever he's buying, what is shopping pattern. So a lot of things can be analyzed with this advanced AI, and that is the future of e-commerce according to me. If you use it properly, and again, as you said, conversational commerce and all those things are there to help us. So slowly and slowly, I think in next 2-3 years, with the help of this, e-commerce can definitely go ahead. Like we can do a lot of things with that.
Great. Sir, looks like Reliance has solved the GPU challenge. Most of us face that. Looks like Reliance with its might has solved for itself at least.
Yeah, and GeoMart is basically made in Bharat and made for Bharat. Okay, so we'll definitely serve Bharat in our best way.
Thank you very much, sir. Marichi.
So the beauty of this, the question which you asked me, the beauty of the answer is I don't have to build this out. It's the gentlemen who are sitting towards the...
You've outsourced everything, huh?
We've not outsourced it. It's an infrastructure piece which we've built. What you build on top of it, it's completely up to you. I think the best analogy for me, and it comes from my childhood, one of my favorite toys was the Lego set. And the beauty of a Lego set is you know that there's a 2-piece and a 4-piece and they go together. Now from that you can build a house, you can build a cart, you can build a rocket, or you can build whatever you want. And I think that's the best way to look at ONDC. It's a set of infrastructure pieces, it's a protocol. What you build on top of it is completely open to your imagination. We have no idea how people will go wild with this imagination, but it's completely left to the ecosystem to build out those solutions.
Thanks. I really like the Lego example. It always works.
One more thing is, a lot of innovation is happening in supply chain. You know, how your warehouses are operating. We have automated warehouses where all the robots are working. Means this is what is actually, every day we are adding new and new features actually. The supply chain is also a very important element of entire e-com chain.
No, I think the supply chain piece and B2B, I personally feel there is a lot to be solved. But unfortunately, we are running out of time.
Yeah, okay.
But maybe next year, sir, we'll invite you here. And by the time, I'm sure Reliance would have solved for some of it, so we'll learn from you. I'll end with you, Sanjeev. What do you think is the next future?
So I don't know whether you guys saw the launch of Operator by Sam Altman on 25th January. And the example that he showcased in terms of what Operator can do for you was e-commerce. You know, it's like the question put to Operator, you know, in that podcast or the webcast was, I want half a dozen eggs, you know, half a or whatever, 1 packet of milk, and I want almond, unsweetened milk, and all of that. And then Operator takes over, and you can see it on the screen. It's like the operator is typing the URL, and then it's scanning the website. It's like going to Amazon.com or whatever is the grocery, DoorDash, whatever. And it comes onto the checkout, and then operator asks the user, you know, how do you want to pay? And you say, I want to pay using card ending whatever, 4568. And the payment happens, right? And that, you know, that is basically what is agentic AI for you. And tomorrow, not in the near, you know, very soon in the near future, you will have these agents building itineraries for you for travel, you know, or booking cabs for you. And these are all different parts of commerce, right? So I think that really is the exciting part of commerce ahead. But what that throws up as a challenge, for example, does the agent divert traffic to Amazon or Flipkart or to Meesho, right? And these are some of the questions that some of the established players need to answer for themselves, right? But that's the e-commerce part of you know, AI. How the bank is trying to use right now, you know, we've got you know, 5,000 odd branches, 100,000 employees. So one of the earliest use cases that we have employed for AI is you know, a tool called Adi, where let's say a 25-year-old employee in a bank branch in Bharat, right, can type in a query. A client has come in and they want to open this kind of an account. What paperwork should I take, right? And then Adi answers that question, and the employee gets the forms filled up and gets things done, right? We've seen that in the branches where there's a very high usage of Adi, the error rates have dropped drastically, right? And that has led to straight-through processing and better customer satisfaction and so on and so forth. So we're doing all of that, and there's a lot that I can talk about, but I know it's zero over here.
Thank you very much for that. And when you mentioned agent and AI together, I think it's music for our ears. And I hope Murli, our CTO, and Kilan, I can't see them, our CPO, they keep talking to me about it, right? So one of the things they are doing, and I think they've almost cracked it, is how through the agent experience we could get the checkout experience, right, in line. I could understand only 10% of it, but they're up to it. I'm sure they'll get it out very quickly. But great. Thank you very much, guys. I think we can take maybe a question and a half from the audience. We have time, a minute more. He says, no, I don't agree with him, so we'll take a question. Let's figure out. Okay, go ahead, second row. Quick.
Hi, sir. I wanted to ask
Who's your question for?
for everyone, particularly for Rajendra sir and Mayank sir. Particularly, a lot of companies like MobiKwik and, for example, basically Paytm introduced micro UPI payments, particularly in their through their payment programs.
Can you rush it?
Through their wallet programs. So I wanted to ask, does Reliance, because it has now JioPay and Amazon Pay already being established in the market, would also introduce those micro UPI payment systems? And if not, what else to compete with it?
Thanks. So he's talking about Chota Ticket. I think it's already enabled, right? He wants a cashback on Chota Ticket. So all right, they'll speak to you later. We'll take one more from this side. Yeah, go ahead. Make it quick. Scream, shout. Yeah, take this. I think if there's somebody else, so.
Yeah, sir, my question is to Mr. Mathur. So actually, I am planning to use ONDC. ONDC is actually built on Beacon protocol, but we aren't getting timely updates on it. The last update was on December 22, so when we should be expecting the next update, or how we should be building it further?
So the protocol is driven a lot by the community. So ONDC is a community initiative. The community gives feedback in terms of what features need to be enabled, what are the enhancements need to be done, and if there's a large enough cohort of people asking for it, the same gets done. So it's not as if we've decided, so we build the basic transaction flows, and for different categories, for different activities, for different service lines, there are feature sets which are very specific for those lines, and those get built out as those lines get built.
Correct, sir. I actually get your point, but the thing is, we aren't getting any sort of support from the community itself. So
You're part of the community.
Yeah.
You contribute to get a support back. Let me give you an example. So I'm part, so I've registered for that.
Correct.
I'm getting pushes every month.
Okay.
They're having workshops. So I think you need to do the right search.
No, we have been with ONDC for
Maybe I'll
past
take it
7, 6
offline
months.
and try to get you some connects over there, or maybe guide you to the right place, all right?
Sure,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much for this. Thank you.